Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to the channel. So glad you guys tuned in today, and as you guys saw by that title, we have another book haul. I haven't done a book haul. I think my last one was in June or July, because for pretty much for the like half of July and then the full August and then like partial September, I was on a book buying ban, but I was able to still buy new releases because there were a lot of releases coming out. So those were like the only books I pretty much bought during that time. And so of course, as soon as the book buying ban was over with, I went crazy and I went and bought all the books. Well, not all of them, but I bought a lot of books that were on my list that I had been seeing that were intriguing to me. So I am going to share them with you guys today, and I'm going to call this a fall book haul because looking at what I have a lot of fantasy, a lot of like spooky books. I have a few romance on here, but I feel like this is giving a fall like book haul because it's mainly, you know, it's a lot of series and there's a lot of fantasy. So yes, we will call it a fall book haul. But yeah, let's stop rambling and let's get into the books. Okay, first I just want to say, guys, I don't know how I am going to get up from this floor because yesterday was leg day, or like it was a full body day, but I hadn't like did legs in so long. I haven't done weights in so long. I've been doing cardio, but my legs are literally on fire. Like they hurt so bad. So hopefully, you know, we can get up off this floor. Okay, but first I'm gonna start with actually a romance. So I got the first two books. I think this is a republished series. I don't think that this is like a new series by Rebecca Yarros, but these are the first two books in that series. I don't even know what the series is called, but it's Full Measures and Eyes Turned Skyward. I saw them in Target, and Target right now has a sale on their books. So I was like, well, you know, I love Rebecca Yarros. Like, I love her books, and I love that she's getting these, like, I don't know what the original covers look like, but I was like, I love that she's getting these republished or whatever, and I just had to grab them because, you know, Fourth Wing did it for me, and I have a few other books by her that I do want to read soon. So I just, you know, her books, I have a feeling that, you know, once these actually get out there, they're going to sell out like Fourth Wing did. Like, that's just the trauma I have in my head. So I just like I had to grab them. So the other two books, there's 5 books total. The other 2 books come out in December. And then the 5th book is already out, which, like I said, I don't know what is like happening there, but yeah, I got the first 2 books. So I don't know when I'm planning on reading them. I just was like, oh, they're here, so I'm gonna grab them. So here we are. That's what it is. But next I have The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I do know she is getting like republished, and so I have the original cover, which is like a football or something on there, and it's like way thicker than this, but maybe the font is like smaller in this one, I'm not sure. But I do love this cover so much more, and it makes me want to pick it up faster. So yes, I have not read anything by Mariana Zapata, but I think this is a lot of people's favorite. So I am super excited to read it. I think I really don't know. I know it's a romance, but I don't know exactly what happens. Looks like, okay, she takes a personal assistant job to the top defensive end. Okay. Well, that, you know, I've been like liking football romances lately. Like, I haven't read many, but I like the ones I have read, I've really enjoyed. So there we are. Okay, next I have Secrets Never Die. And this one just screamed spooky season to me, and I actually got this one for like $5 at Barnes and Noble. You guys know, like, when they just have like, I don't know if they call it like a book club book or whatever, but it's like, I was at the Starbucks in Barnes and Noble, and it was like sitting there, and they had like $5 with like any purchase of coffee or something like that. So I was like, I had to get it. It sounded super interesting. It's the back says, we call it a dark place. I don't know who built it or when, but for us it's a sacred spot. And so basically what this, from like what I read on the back and what I can remember, friends, they like every year get together and celebrate funerals. Okay, let me just read. It says, every year Sam Hall and his friends hold funerals for their secrets in an abandoned hut in the woods that they call the dark place. But this year their secrets are coming back from the dead to terrorize them. So yeah, not funerals for each other, but funerals for their secrets. So it just sounded, you know, like, it just sounded interesting. It kind of, I do not remember what that movie is called, but it reminds me of a movie that I saw a while back. And I feel like I cannot think of the movie, but yes, it seems like a very quick read. And yeah, I can see like the title, like they're like 3-page chapters. So I think this will be very like a good palette cleanser for spooky season, you know. That's just, yeah, just another unnecessary purchase basically. With Love from Cold World by Alicia Thompson. And I know she is the author of Love in the Time of Serial Killers. And so I have been seeing everyone talk about this one. So I was like, well, this is another impulsive buy. But it says she has a to-do list a mile long, and falling for her coworkers isn't on it. Yet somehow he becomes her top priority. And so you have a bookkeeper and 2 bookkeepers. They're coworkers, it looks like. And so it looks like they are trying to raise revenue. So it looks like they may be rivals. Let me know if you've read this. Let me know how you like it. Anything with rivals right now sounds interesting because I absolutely love Divine Rivals. So I'm like, if it's a rivals to lovers, like, give it to me. So yes, do I need to read the other book by her first? Do I need to read that one first? Let me know. Like, I have no clue. Next I have Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This is another, y'all, I'm really saying this a lot, but this is another one I kept seeing everyone talk about. And I saw Allie Hazelwood's and Abby Jimenez little like snippets on here. And so yeah, it's a wedding planner and her grumpy ex must work together to plan a celebrity event in this deliciously spicy and funny novel from fanfic sensation Julie Soto. So it's kind of funny because I am reading oh my gosh, Fancy Meeting You Here. I'm reading that right now. I'm reading the arc of it, and it's about a wedding planner and like a chef. And so when I saw wedding planner, I love it. So yes, we will see. I love, like, he looks like a bad boy. He has like well, he may not be a bad boy, but he has like flower tattoos. And yeah, I wonder if it's like bad girl, bad boy, good girl. I don't know. Obviously they were, it says ex. Okay, I thought it said ex-fiance. So we're in a relationship. So there. And now I have The Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. And this sounds so interesting. And it seems like it'll be so like quick to fly through. Like, I don't know, whenever I see a thriller like or like a mystery, I want something short like this. I don't want like a super thick book. And this just seems like a good read. This just seems like it'll be a good time. It gives you like the perfect little spooky vibes. And you know, it doesn't take too much brain power. At least that's what I'm getting from the cover. But also the title, My Roommate is a Vampire, like I gotta know what happens. And so it looks like, I think the main female character moves in to like a loft or something, but basically they end up being roommates, and she finds out her roommate is a vampire, is what I'm getting from this. And so yeah, it says, who says you can't teach an old vampire new tricks? So I wonder if she like knows he's a vampire before she moves in, or if she finds out, you know. But it's a charming debut romantic comedy, and romantic comedies I have been loving right now. So yeah. Okay, now we're getting more into like the little spooky vibes a little bit. So I have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And I have been seeing, I don't really know what this is about, but I've been seeing it. I saw Destiny purchase it for like what she wants to read during the fall, I think, and I was like, okay, that's enough for me to be like, okay, now that's my cue to finally buy it. It's been on my wish list for a while, and I just kept putting it off because I was like, I don't really know what it's about, but here we are. Thanks, Destiny. It says, the circus arrives without warning. No announcements preceded. It is simply there when yesterday it was not.
Black and white shot canvas kids. It's an utterly unique experience full of breathtaking amazement. It is called with circuited rivets, and it is only open at night. But behind the scenes, this competition is underway. A duel between two young magicians, Celia and Marco, who have been trained to travel expressly for this purpose by their instructors. Unbeknownst to them both, this is a game in which only one can be left standing. Amidst the high stakes, Celia and Marco can soon tumble headfirst into love, setting off a domino effect of dangerous consequences and losing the lives of everyone, from the performers to the patrons hanging in the balance.
The love story, I actually did not know that. I did not know that at all. So sounds super interesting, and this may just end up getting pushed up on my TBR now because it sounds like a circus that's not there like the first day, but then it's there and it's only at night. There's like, it just sounds interesting, guys. Like, I'm sorry, it sounds interesting. I did get the new release by Tessa Bailey, Wreck the Halls, and this is like a Christmas romance, and I am so ready for, well, first I want to enjoy fall because it's my favorite season, but Christmas is my favorite holiday, and I am so ready for just all the little Christmas books. I purchased so many last year, and I don't think I read any Christmas books. Like, I don't think I read any, and so this year I am like, you are reading Christmas books if your life depends on it. I am so ready to read like the little Christmas romances. So I love Tessa Bailey's work. She writes the perfect little like romantic, like, I guess you can say like comedy sometimes, but like just a perfect little like rom-coms, and I fall in love with them. They're super lighthearted, and I just think, you know, her writing a Christmas book, she had me there. I actually saw this on TikTok. Kiera Lewis, she did like a reaction to this, and guys, at one point she was like screaming because it was so good, and then the next moment I saw her crying, and I was like, okay, an emotional roller coaster book, give it to me. So it's called That Sick Love by Jessie Hall, I think that's how you pronounce her name. But it says, fornication is a sin. As it reads, we should flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. This, you know, I guess I didn't even read the back. I just saw her reactions, and I was just like, okay, it sounds super interesting. So I do think this is also the perfect time for dark romances. So, you know, some of my favorite like people who write dark romances, I love Chantel Teaser, I think that's how you say her last name, but I read The Ritual by her, and then I also started The Sabotage by her, and guys, I was completely shooketh. When I say I started the prologue of that book had me rendered speechless. I was like, what the heck am I reading? And so I'm only at like chapter 4, I think, but it's pretty good. It's definitely giving dark romance, and it's definitely giving spice. So you gotta like read it in chunks because it's a lot going on, but it's like step siblings. So, you know, it's, I'm wanting the dark romance era. Paperback copy of Once Upon a Broken Heart. I think she's finally releasing the paperback in like the original covers. So I was like, I need them because it's gonna make me read them more. Like, I don't know, I can read a hardcover, and I love having hardcovers, but like sometimes like, and it's so floppy, it's just like the floppiness gets me, and so I'm just like, I need it. I need it. And I know A Curse of True Love is actually coming out this month. I've already pre-ordered it. So excited. Have I read this one? No. But after seeing everything, like all the reactions, I have not seen one bad thing about this book. And all I know is that apples, something about apples is involved, and I need to know what these apples mean. So yeah, I don't even remember what the main male character's name is, but this just sounds like, you know, it renders people speechless when I see reading vlogs, and so I'm just intrigued. I'm intrigued, and I cannot wait to read it. I was thinking about doing a 24-hour reading vlog for this one or the Six of Crows duology. So I posted a poll on my Instagram. So we will see which one wins, because I'm starting that tomorrow. I think it's perfect for a 24-hour reading vlog, like one of the duologies. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, and she's also releasing these books in paperback now as well. And one of my book besties on Bookstagram, y'all, she loves Chloe Gong. Like literally anything she writes, she's reading, and she's just convinced me. I have a few books by her, and so I was like, well, paperback version, you know. And then it's floppy as well, guys. Like the floppiness, it's the floppiness. It just convinces you that you need it, and I'm here for it. So yes, this one's like a historical romance, I think. But it says the year of 1926. The Shanghai hums to the tune of debauchery. Looks like there's 2 gangs. Okay, sounds like it may be a little crime there, but yeah, it seems interesting. And like I said, one of my book besties, she just goes hard for Chloe, so I'm just like, I trust you, so here I am. The Bone Witch by Ran Chu Peko. It's actually a trilogy. My other 2 books are on the way. But yeah, it says, let me be clear, I never intended to raise my brother from the grave. I feel like Amazon just like sees my searches lately for like spooky season books, and it just like, I keep getting all these like little like recommendations, and so that was one of these. I was like, oh, okay, like for the spooky season, you know, I've been wanting to dive a little bit more into these kind of books, and this popped up, and so I was just like, you know, it looks like it will give what it needs to give. So yeah, it is fantasy, of course. So yeah, how long is it? It's a little bit over 400 pages. Oh, right at 400 pages. 411 pages. So hopefully, you know, I read it soon. This month, like I said, this month I thought I had a TBR set, but honestly, I'm kind of going with the flow at this point, because I don't know, I stuck to a TBR last month, so now I gotta spice it up. I need to add a little razzle dazzle and not stick to a TBR this month. That's just the way it works. This series has been on my TBR for so long, and I went on Blackwell's, and they have the covers that don't have humans on the front, and now I'm kind of like, dang it, I have the human covers, but I really like these covers, so I had to get them. But it is Binding 13 and Keeping 13, and guys, look at these covers. And I know she's actually coming out with new covers for the US, but these are so cute as well, and these are the ones I keep seeing everywhere, and I'm like, they're just so cute. And look at the colors, y'all. I just can't, I can't. So here I am, Blackwell's, thank you. But this is the first 2 books of the Boys of Tommen series. The other 2, which is Saving 6 and Redeeming 6, in these covers, they don't come out until like the end of October, I think. So, you know, they'll be on their way soon. But yeah, I have heard mixed reviews about this series, but I have recently been seeing it everywhere. Like, I think I first bought like the original covers like earlier this year, but now it seems like they're just getting a lot more hype. I don't know if it's with the new cover releases, but it seems like everyone around me is reading these books. It sounds interesting, and I think this is going to be like the next like big romance series I probably pick up. I'm going between this one and the Addicted series. I don't know which one I want to pick up, guys. I'm just like, the Addicted series has been on my TBR, but so is Binding 13. But now that I have these covers, I'm more tempted to start Binding 13. So let me know. Should I start Addicted, or should I the Addicted series, or should I start the Boys of Tommen series? I have a trilogy, a fantasy trilogy, and I don't even know what made me buy this, but I have other books by this author, so I was just like, why not? But it is, I don't even know what the series is called. It may just be A Fate of Wrath and Flame, but I think it's her first fantasy series, but by K.A. Tucker. So it's A Fate of Wrath and Flame, A Curse of Blood and Stone, A Queen of Thieves and Chaos. And so I saw I saw it on Bookstagram, one person like reading these, and like I said, I have a few other books by K.A. Tucker, but they're all romance. So when I saw she was writing a fantasy series, and me being in a fantasy mood right now, I was just like, you know, is this my sign to finally dive into her books before I read her romance books? Because she has the like Simple Wild series that she's written, and then also like the 10 Tiny Breaths series or something. And so I have been saying I was going to start those, but I just haven't been in the mood, I guess. Like, I don't know, I just haven't read them, guys. Just don't attack me, I just have not read them. But I may start her fantasy series first, because like I said, fantasy, fall, we're here, it's here, like, you know, might as well. He would know the world of vengeful gods and monsters, and the links one would go for love, and nothing would ever be the same for her again. So we got a little crime going on here. I did not know that. Okay, but yeah, like I said, we have a Curse of Blood and Stone and a Queen of Thieves and Chaos. So it looks like though there's different characters for each one. Yeah, it looks like, okay, it's called the Fate and Flame series. Okay, well, no, it doesn't look like there's, I thought at first it looked like there were different characters, but yes, the covers are also really pretty. And yeah, it's me trying to justify why I bought a whole series, and you know, it is what it is. Okay, but next I made a trip to Barnes and Noble, and so I saw this by Sierra Simone. I think this is her newest like series, and this is the first book out, but it's called Salt Kiss. And I do know it follows, it's like a spin-off of the first like American Queen series or something like that. I do have the first book in that series, so let me know, do I need to read that series first before I read this one? Because this one sounds much more interesting than that series. And so, you know, if I can just go into this one, I think I'm more prone to read it quicker, like to pick it up faster than I am if I have to go through the whole entire other series first. So let me know, because like I said, I really want to read this, and I saw it and I was just like, I want it. And then the worker was like, oh, you're gonna read this one first, and I was like, please don't tell me that, please don't tell me that. Y'all, if y'all don't know, I'm already going through ACOTAR Crescent City debacle stress situation about what book to read next. I don't need another one. I don't need another one. So please just tell me that I can read this one first, like that I won't be going in so confused if I just so happen to not read the other series first. Of Mist and Shadow by Jenna Wolfhart, which is the part of the Mist King. And I actually started this, it was sometime last year. It was like right after I finished the first ACOTAR book, and I was like, I really want, you know, something to give me those vibes. And this came up on Kindle Unlimited, and so I think I got like maybe 15% into it, and I don't know why I never picked it back up, because it wasn't bad. It was actually really good. So I really don't know why, but if I remember correctly, honestly, let me not lie, I'm trying to think if I remember anything. I just remember, I think she ran off to not get married to a guy, and she ended up being like kidnapped by the Mist King. I don't know, let's see. It says, when the vicious Fae King, yep, okay, yeah. Oh, well, she's stealing something. He demands a cruel punishment. She must leave her family and friends behind and become his future human bride. Tessa has never stepped foot inside the glittering Fae City until now. No mortal was allowed. There, things are far more monstrous than she ever dreamed. King Auburn humiliates her, terrorizes her, and threatens those she loves. But when she escapes, some far worse finds her. The lethal Mist King, the enemy Fae who trapped her people beneath the reign of King Auburn in the first place. The one who destroyed human cities and watched them burn. He takes her captive and offers her a deal. If she becomes the first mortal to kill a Fae King, he will free her people. But the mist beyond the kingdom walls are dangerous, ruthless, and mesmerizing, and so is he. As Tessa fights her growing desire, she must make a choice. Her dagger will only kill one Fae. Which king will it be? So I thought there was a little romance in here, but from what I am seeing, it looks like she wants to kill the Mist King also. I hope there's a little romance in here. I hope. I need some romance. But yes, okay, so I was like on the right path. She was like getting married to someone, escaped, and ended up in the Mist King's like vicinity. But yeah, I think there's like 4 or 5 books in the series, or like I think there's 3 out and the 4th is getting ready to release. So they are on Kindle Unlimited, and like I said, I only bought the first book in this series because I was like, well, maybe I'll like actually pick it up if I have the paperback. So there we are. Hopefully, you know, hopefully it gives me those ACOTAR vibes, you know. I'm just, anything that gives us those vibes are worth it. The first book in the Kingdom of Lies book, the Kingdom of Lies series, and it's book 1, and it's A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark. So it says, for years when I fell asleep, I dreamed of a man with blazing green eyes and a cruel smile. The day I met him, the ruthless mercenary leaves me for dead. Just hours after humans are born, the gods take what little power we have. In return, they protect our borders from the vicious, merciless Fae. The humans who manage to keep their power are known as corrupt, and they are burned. When my forbidden power is discovered, I'm forced to flee my tiny village and the life I adore. To survive, I make a desperate bargain with the mercenary who abandoned me at my weakest. One deal is simple. I'll help him and his mysterious friends sneak into the city, and he'll help me learn to yield the strange dark powers I've always kept hidden. The power that may just be the key to my survival. But the ruthless mercenary is hiding secrets of his own, secrets that threaten the safety of everyone I love, secrets that could tear this kingdom and perhaps even this world apart. Okay, I think I saw Destiny talk about this one. I don't know if she's read it or not, but I don't know if it was like her TBR or book haul. I don't know, but it was, I got the inspiration to get this from her. The first book in the, I don't know what this series is called either. Okay, I don't think there's a title to this series, but this is the first book, and it's called Blood Heir by Amelie Wen Zaho, and I saw this on TikTok. I was like looking up like fantasy recommendations, and this came up as a princess with a deadly gift, a con man with a heart of ice, an empire on the verge. In the Sicilian Empire, affinities are revealed. Their very gifts to control the world around them are unnatural, even dangerous. And Anastasia, the crown princess, is one of the most terrifying. Okay, if I remember correctly, I think this is supposed to be kind of like an Anastasia like retelling, I think. Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to be. But there is a sequel called Red Tigress, and then I think there's a 3rd book if I remember correctly, but I got the first one, so we will see how it is. Like I said, I saw it on TikTok. I saw people saying like it was so good, and it was like what they needed when they wanted a fantasy, so we'll see. Now I have One Dark Window by Rachel Gilling, and y'all, if y'all have not seen this book, where have you been? Are you living under a rock? Because everyone is talking about this book. The second book actually releases this month, and so this is one of the books on the top of my TBR. It says Maiden, Monster, and Martyr, One Dark Window, an enchanting tale with sharp claws and teeth. I've been wanting to get into like gothic fantasy. I have Belladonna and Foxglove. I think that's supposed to give like gothic vibes. So this is the other one that I have bought to dive into, and like I said, the second book comes out this month, and I've been seeing this everywhere, so I'm just like, you know, why not try it? Why not try it? I have the Truly Devious series. Yes, a Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson, and I feel like I have other books written by her. I do not know, but her name sounds so familiar. Her name sounds so familiar, but yes, after like starting the Natural series, I was like, what else is out there that like gives those kind of vibes? And this sounds, it doesn't sound very similar, but it sounds like it's gonna give me, you know, those YA mystery vibes. So that is how this happened. I actually found the box set on Amazon, and it was just so much cheaper to get the box set versus like buying each book individually. So highly recommend, if you are into this series or interested in getting it, just get the box set on Amazon if you can. But yeah, there's 4 books, and you have, so it's The Vanishing Star, Truly Devious, The Box in the Woods, and The Hand on the Wall. I honestly don't know if that's the right order at all. But I'm trying to see what, I feel like the Truly Devious is the first one. But it says, look, a riddle, time for fun. Should we use a rope or gun? Ellingham Academy is a famous private school in Vermont, founded by an early 20th century tycoon for the best and brightest students around. When Ellingham's wife and daughter were kidnapped, the only clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder, signed with the frightened pseudonym Truly Devious. Their disappearance becomes one of the greatest unsolved crimes in history. Many years later, true crime Stevie Bell is set to begin her first year at the academy, and she is determined to solve this cold case. That is, she will solve it when she gets a grip on her demanding new school life and her housemates, the inventor, the novelist, the actor, the artist, and the jokester. But Truly Devious makes a surprise return. The past has crawled out of its grave, and someone has gotten away with murder. Yep, Truly Devious is the first. Okay, this is the first one. So yeah, I like, you know, unknown mystery, like thriller, cold cases. Y'all, it just sounds so interesting. And like I said, I have been seeing so many people talk about this series, and after they read the Natural series, a lot of people dive into this series. So I am super excited to see. I am so close to being finished with the Natural series. I'm reading All In this month, and then I have Bad Blood, and then I will be diving into this series. So hopefully I dive into this one by the end of the year, because it sounds interesting. And honestly, the Natural series has kind of become like a comfort series now at this point. Like, when I pick it up, I know it's just like gonna be so good, and like I won't be able to put it down. And so I love that. I love that in the series. So I am excited for it. Okay, but next I have the first book, and I honestly don't know what this series is called, but it's called House of Salt and Sorrows is the first book, and I have the second book on the way. I had to get it from Blackwell's because the second book, they only had it in hardcover on Amazon, which is weird, but you know, here we are. And this is one I also saw on Bookstagram, and then Stephanie Garber has a little blurb, step inside a fairy tale, and says, hunting, atmospheric and immersive. In the manor by the sea, 12 sisters are cursed. Anila lives a sheltered life at Highmore with her sisters. Once there were 12, but loneliness fills the grand halls now that 4 of the girls' lives have been cut short, each death more tragic than the last.
The third by series of ghostly visions, Anna Lee becomes increasingly suspicious that her sister's death was no accident. The girls have been sneaking out every night to attend glittering balls, dancing until dawn in silk gowns and shimmering slippers. And Anna Lee isn't sure whether to try to stop them or to join their forbidden treats, because who or what are they really dancing with? When Anna Lee's involved with a mysterious stranger has her secrets of his own intensifies, it's a race to unravel the darkness that has fallen over her family before it claims her next. Okay, yeah, and it says House of Salt is a spellbinding novel filled with magic and rustle of gossamer skirts down long dark hallways.
That was my first time reading the back of it, guys, so I actually had no idea what this book was about. Jasmine, why do you keep buying books that you don't know just because you see it on Bookstagram, or you don't have to get it? Guys, this is the problem. This is the problem. But, you know, at least I got another good book to read. So, this sounds very interesting, and we will see when I'll pick this up. Like, it's super short. It's right at 400 pages, so that's perfect. That's like, you know, if I read 200 pages a day, I get that done in 2 days. I don't know how long the second book is, but hopefully that gets here soon, because sometimes when it comes from Blackwell's, it does take a while just because it's coming from overseas and not the US. But yeah, let me know if you guys have read that series. The Witch Hunt by Sasha Payton Smith, and I also have The Witch Haven. I think The Witch Hunt comes first. I think it's The Witch Hunt first. But this also is like giving me, you know, it has the word witch in it. It just gives me spooky vibes, gives me the perfect October vibes to read this. And it's fantasy, like spooky fantasy, like give it to me. Haven Academy, rules for young witches, mind your instructions, no unsupervised spell work, don't leave after dark. And two more series, guys. So I have For the Wolf and For the Throne by Hannah Witten, and I think this is, I honestly don't remember what I was about to say. I want to say this is like it gives me Red Riding Hood vibes. I don't know, like, is it just me? It's like the red, is this supposed to be like a Red Riding Hood like retelling or something? But it says the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf, and that's all it says, honestly. Wait, there's like a, okay, his eyes arc away from her to the waiting wilder wood beyond the ring of cleared ground. I warned you before, Red, none of the stories here have happy endings. Okay, yeah, it seems like, yeah, it seems like maybe a Red Riding Hood like retelling. I don't know, but I'm excited to like dive into this series. Like I said, it's 2 books, and yeah, y'all, it's just screaming fall. It's screaming this season to read these books. Last series, and I actually did have this series, but she is releasing her books in new covers, and you guys already know how much I love this author. But it is the Darker Shade of Magic series by V.E. Schwab, and so these are her new covers that released, and since Target had a sale, I just had to grab them. And yes, I am super excited to read this series. I'm actually reading Vengeful now, which is the 2nd book out of like the Vicious duology. So once I finish that, I will be diving into this one because she just had a new release. I don't remember the title of it. I can't see it from where I'm sitting, but I believe that I have to read this one before I go into that series. So here we are. And so yes, this is my next V.E. Schwab like thing that I'll be reading. So let me know if you guys have read this series and what you think of it. Okay guys, so those are all the books in this little fall fantasy spooky book haul. But yes, this season just screams series. There's so many series here, and I cannot wait to start diving into them for this fall season. Let me know if you guys have read any of these, or if any of these are on your TBR, and if you did read any of them, what did you rate them? What did you think? Are they worth it? So yes, I love you guys, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.